Hello guys, welcome back to the channel and welcome to another film review. Tonight we're looking at a VHS 80s classic, a British horror film from 1982 called Xtro. Now this came out like it was everywhere in the VHS sort of like stores, absolutely everywhere. You could not miss that cover everywhere, sort of like in the 1980s. And I ended up buying an ex-rental copy of it way back in the day, and I've not really sort of visited the film since. It is a British sort of sci-fi horror and sort of a creature feature, if you like, and it's a complicated but very strange little story. It's about a family living in this cottage, and the mother goes out one day in the car, and the son and dad are playing in the garden, and then they get this massive sort of like light coming down, and this sort of like storm almost, sort of like blowing them both everywhere, and it's like really sort of dramatic. And the dad disappears, and he sort of disappears for like 3 years. So he's been abducted by aliens and disappeared, and so the son is sort of like still never really got over that over those 3 years, and he keeps saying his dad's going to come back and all this. His mum's sort of moved on and got herself like a new boyfriend, and they seem to have moved out of the sort of cottage farm they live into like a sort of like block of apartments, but it looks like London by the looks of it, and they've settled into this apartment. And all these bizarre, strange things. And the most bizarre, strange thing is the boy's bed. He's got like this bunk bed, but it looks so unsafe. It looks like it's made of really cheap aluminium that are bend and everything. It looks a really cheap sort of bed, and it's all bits of metal sort of sticking out all over the bed area. It's like, what the fuck is that bed? I've never seen one like that, but that's one of the strange things. But yeah, all these sort of strange things sort of go on. And we cut to a little bit future, and we see this like vision of the countryside, and this sort of light coming from the sky, coming down, and then a big blinding sort of light, and this creature has arrived on the planet, which looks like a sort of like a sort of naked werewolf, and it's sort of roaming in the countryside of the where it's landed, and this car nearly runs it over, and they stop to have a look, and the guy goes out searching because he thinks he's hit it, and he finds it in the wood with like a little injury, and he goes to touch it, and the thing just sort of attacks his face like right by his eyes and kills him outright. So he dies, and the girl's still at the car, and she's sort of like, come on, we're going to leave soon, we're going to leave. And he doesn't come back, and the creature ends up going to the car, and she ends up getting to her demise as well. And so there's 2 dead bodies. And then he goes to this house in the countryside, this creature, where this woman's living with this dog. And it attacks this woman in the house, but it doesn't kill her. It sort of puts it sort of like, it's a strange sort of like hand over her mouth, and you get this sort of pulsating sort of thing going on. And what it's doing, it's laying an egg inside her. And within minutes, the creature's disintegrated and died. And she wakes up, and she's impregnated by this massive, big, like massive, it's like a huge stomach, and she goes on then to sort of give birth, but she gives birth to a man. A fully grown man comes out of her. It's quite disgusting and gross. It's quite gory, this film. And this man comes out, and it happens to be the dad that went missing, and he's back. So he's come back to Earth, and he goes to the car where he's killed the other 2 people, and he drives off, and then he starts stalking his sort of son around sort of like the streets of like near his school, And one day the mother goes to the school to pick him up, because he's been acting strange, to see what's going on. And the teacher there says, "Oh no, his dad's already come and picked him up." So then she goes on a sort of rampage looking for him, and then she finds him, and he comes across him, and she sort of slaps him, and he debates his memory loss. He doesn't know what's going on because he's disappeared for 3 years. So she invites him back into the home, which the boyfriend isn't very happy about, obviously. But she invites him in, and the son's over the moon that his dad's sort of back. But all these strange sort of things start happening, and the dad sort of tells the truth to the lad, what's been going on, and he then sort of it's really bizarre, almost vampire-like. He sort of sucks on his son's shoulder to like this really weird shape comes out of his son's shoulder, and then his son starts acting strange and's got these sort of powers. So he is transferring something over to his son. And that's all I'm going to tell you, because the film takes off into an absolute wild sort of film with dream sequences, with clowns, with snakes, with people being killed, and all that by an old woman getting killed by a giant action man. There's all these strange things start going on. So what is going on? If you want to find out, you need to watch it, because it's a classic. It's an absolute amazing 80s classic film, and it's come from Britain. Although it's got sort of like a bit of American sort of horror film feel to it, because it's a little bit not British, if you know what I mean. It doesn't play out as British, but there again, it is made by New Line Cinema, so it is an American invested film, and it plays out really sort of amazingly, wonderfully strange, and it's a really cool sort of watch. It was great to watch it. Now, the really cool things about this edition, it's got 4 versions of the film. You've got the film with the original ending, one with an alternative ending, the director's cut, and the original VHS UK edition. So you can watch the same edition that was available back in the VHS X rental days. It's a little bit shorter running time than the sort of one that you got there, but it's a really, really wacky British horror, gory creature sci-fi horror film, and it's wonderful. I'm going to score this an amazing watch and give it an 8 out of 10. It's such a cool film. It really, really is. When I was watching it, it took me right back to when I saw it back in the day. I even remembered a lot of it, and I've not seen this guy since probably, must be the early 90s, 91, something like that. I've not seen it for that long a time, and I picked it up because it was on offer, and I thought, yeah, do you know what? I'm going to grab that, and because it'd be good to revisit it, and it was really good to revisit it. The pluses of this edition by Second Sight is it looks really cool. It's got some natural grain in there, but it looks vibrant, it looks cool, looks like a real upgrade to the original copy. The acting is, although pretty bad, is pretty good at the same time. I quite enjoyed this sort of acting in it. I thought the mum was stellar in her role. I thought she was great, and it's really, really cool. And I felt throughout the film, I felt sorry for her the most, because she's, her husband's disappeared for 3 years. She's found a new boyfriend, and they're sort of settling down, and she's managed to deal with stuff like that. Then the husband turns up again, so her feelings are really messed up in it, and he's acting quite normal and quite vague, so she feels a little bit sorry for the husband. But we know there's a dark, sinister thing going on with the husband and the son, because the plan is he wants the son to come back to him, to whatever planet he's been. There's some good gore in the film. There's some really gory, disturbing scenes in the film. It's quite cool. It sort of starts off quite gory, and then you get a sort of slow bit, and then we get the gory and the ending, which is really, really cool. It's got different endings, which is also good. Really cool. Xtro, 8 out of 10. Any of you guys seen it? If you have, let me know down below what you think of it. It is a real flashback, callback to those 1980s days when it was kind of a little bit of a sort of genre that the British films didn't seem to really touch a lot on, which was this sort of sci-fi horror. We didn't really see a lot of that here. We had sci-fi films, but not sort of sci-fi horror. We sort of left that to the Americans, but this has that sort of wacky British sort of, because Britain at this time were making some really strange horror films. They made that strange one with Timothy Spall. I can't remember the name of it. Is it Dream Demon, something like that. We went for a stage of making sort of films to try and make them a little bit Hellraiser-y, if you like, because that was a bit bizarre, wasn't it? And so I think it was everyone was sort of playing on the back of that, of Clive Barker's success, and making it sort of like that sort of feeling to the film. Because although it's nothing like Hellraiser, it has a Hellraiser feel to it, with a sort of character building and stuff like that, and the way it's sort of shot, it's quite similar, and it's really, really cool. Guys, till my next video, please check out a few channels for me. Check out Horror Hands, Horror Geek, Manview Film, RS Design, Pizzlewell. I'm the Ice Lord, Cat Watches Horror Movies, and Grumpy Andrew's Haunted House. Until next time, look after. Oh, massive shout out to the lad. He's on holiday at the moment. I hope you're having a wonderful time, mate. In fact, by the time this goes out on the channel, your holiday's been over and I've probably been down to see you. But anyway, look after yourselves. Until next time, look after yourselves, look after one another, and I really hope I see you all soon.